Welcome to another episode of repairs to this poor old Triumph 2500 Mark 1. Well, it's time. I've been putting this off because I don't feel confident about it, and that is building the engine. It's come back from the engine reconditioning guy, who has bought it 40 thou over. It was 20 thou over to start with, and the crank's been ground 10 thou, sort of under. I've got the parts. I haven't got all the parts. I sort of was cleaning parts and found the oil pump was pretty dodgy, and I decided to get new timing chain. So there's parts still coming, but I can make a start on it. And yeah, now I can't get it on the engine stand until the crank's in. The design of the engine stand won't let me put the crank in. So I'm going to have to get it down onto the ground, get it upside down, get the crankshaft in, and then get it on the engine stand to go from there. It's been a bit of a challenge there. In the oil galleries there's two plugs that turned out to be aluminium, and whatever he sort of cleaned this with in a bath of some description ate that aluminium away. So I've had to try and find plugs to go in there. That was a bit challenging. They'll have to go in, and it's a bare block, so it's a lot of work. Been cleaning parts for weeks now. The other challenge that I've never done before is put pistons onto conrods. The other dolly engines I built, it was already set up that way when I got them. I either bought the parts or I was using old pistons or whatever. So that's going to be another challenge. So anyway, let's get this down on the ground and upside down and have a look at getting the crank in. One more thing to talk about is I'm not a mechanic. I'm just a bloke with some old cars, been working on them all my life, but I'm not a mechanic. And this has also been done on a budget. In an ideal world, you're replacing a whole lot of things that I'm not going to replace and doing things that I'm not going to be doing. So what I'm trying to say here is, don't copy me. There's other YouTube channels that tell you vastly better ways, if you're going to do it proper. One called Rusty Beauties. That's got an engine rebuilding thing on it, which is really worth watching if you are going to do this. Some things I haven't done, like the top of the block has not been, what they call it, decked. It hasn't been sort of shaved, or whatever you want to call that. And the head has not been done either. Now the head's been done in terms of the valve guides, and the valve's been reseated and all that. No hardened seats have been put in. Now these things are done because of quirks by me. I've had engines rebuilt before I started doing them, and they'd shaved the head and done the block, top of the block, and those engines were never nice engines. You know, they used to, what do they call it, not pre-ignite, they keep running on when you turn them off and never get the timing right, and they'd overheat, and it's not something I like to do unless it's unbelievably out of shape. Well, it's not out of shape, so it might be by a, you know, but it's not worth. No, I'm not doing it. But that doesn't mean it's not the right thing to do. It's just my opinion. So let's get on with it. In order to get it upside down, I need to take those towing hooks off, lifting hooks off, sorry. So let's get on with that. Well, this is what it looks like, sort of thing. So first thing I need to do is get that WD-40 or oil that's sort of been squirted around off where the bearings are going to sit. Get that, make sure that's spotless, and we'll move on. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is make sure this is all spotless. Got a, this is brake clean, but one of those sort of non-residue leaving sort of cleaners. Going to get where these bearing cap doohickeys go, nice and clean. Bit surprised how dirty this still is, in as much as this thing spent a lot of time in some sort of vat cleaning, and it also spent a lot of time with me squirting degreaser on it and cleaning it, and yet still got muck coming off. I'm just going to put a tiniest amount of oil, no I mean tiny, just to put a smear here. It's not, definitely not, it's just a coating on where these bearings are going to sit. In fact, most of it's getting wiped off again after I put it on. These bearings are only going to fit one way. Little notch they go in. There's a hole in the bearing that lines up with an oil gallery, so you know you're putting it in the right way. Now the crankshaft has come back with some sort of goo all over it to stop it rusting, so I'm not sure what that's going to take to get it off, but that'll be the next job. Well, I don't know what this stuff is that's on this crankshaft to stop it rusting, so I don't know what will get it off. We'll give it a go with this is brake clean, doesn't leave a residue. We'll see if that gets it off, and it does, so I think that might be better than degreaser. Well, this might take a while, so I'll come back when it's all clean. Well, that's the crankshaft all clean, all the goo's off it. Also wiped the bearing surface just in case there was some sort of residue from manufacture. And so it's pretty well time to put the crank into the block. Before I do that, I've got some assembly grease to put on, and then we're ready to rock and roll. It's time to gently put the crank in. Next job is to put these bearing caps on. Now they're numbered. Now this back one here has the shims, half moony sort of shims that give the crankshaft end float, and that, so I'll do that last. Now these are numbered, so let's get on with that. Now on a dolomite, these things go on in one way, you can't get it wrong. It seems that that's not the case here. Now I've marked them, but I don't remember. I didn't seem to mark them as in terms of orientation. My memory tells me that I marked them, that the mark corresponds with the number that's stamped in the block here. So that would make it go in that way. But before I go any further, I'm just going to check with the video that I made pulling this apart, where I marked it, to see if my memory corresponds with fact. Alrighty, I've worked it out. I did do what I thought I did, and marked sort of this side of the cap corresponding with the number on this side of the block. So I can put it together now. This is number 3, the mark's there, the mark's there, all good. I'm just going to do these up. I wouldn't say it's finger tight, but pretty well finger tight, you know, just to like sort out the end float. Alright, let's have a go at this end float. Now the workshop manual says it's 4 to 8 thou, and workshop manual doesn't tell you which way round they go. There is a picture that seems to indicate they go this way, which is the sort of what looks like a copper, and there's a slot, an oil gallery type thing in it, and that actually makes sense, so I'm going to go with that. 8 thou. Alright, so we need to put an oversized one in. I'm just using the one I'm putting in to push the other one out. Lower. Supposed to be more than 4 thou. So let's just check 4 thou and see if we've got that. And I'd say that it is 4 thou, I'm not sure. It's not a super tight, but it is a, yeah, no question. It might be 5 thou clearance, but it's 4 to 8, so it's within what they want. So we'll go with that. Ah, smooth. Oh joy, oh happiness. Alright, I'm going to tension them up to whatever the tension is. I'll have to go look that up. Alright, I've got a torque wrench setting of 55 to 60 foot-pounds. Let's sneak up on that. That's 30. Alright, that's 60. Let's see what that looks like. I have to think about this oil seal carrier and possibly a speedy sleeve. So let's have a look at that. Well, it's time to attempt to fit what I call a speedy sleeve. It's not what they call them, but I think that's a brand name. I'm not sure. Anyway, that slides over the end of the crankshaft here to fix up the wear mark where the oil seal has been running for the last 30 years or more, or 40 years, however the old car this is. Now it's got a lip on it, like that, and that goes over. You bang it on, and you can remove this lip or leave it there. So let's have a go at this. See if I can bugger it up. I put a little bit of Loctite on there, not much. Just to keep it in place. Alright, let's have another go. Alright, let's get a gasket and some silicone on here and get this on. Now, historically I would not be doing this with silicone. I'd be using some sort of gasket sealer. That's what I've always used. But with this engine I'm trying silicone because I would really like this engine to not leak oil. Now, there was a audible sort of laugh from the world of Triumph when I just said that. The whole sort of internet erupted with telling me he's dreaming. Well, I know. But, you know, gotta be optimistic. Give it a go. Alrighty then, the crankshaft is in, the rear seal's on, but I don't have the Welsh plug that goes at the back of the block where the camshaft runs. I did buy a kit of all the Welsh plugs, but for some reason that one wasn't included, so I'll have to get that one. So in order to get it on the engine stand, I've got to put the back engine plate on. So that'll have to come off again in order to do that Welsh plug. But I'll get it on, get the thing on the engine stand, then I can just get on with doing the rest of the engine and come back to the Welsh plug. So let's get on with it. Alrighty, that's the engine on the engine stand. Alrighty, now what to do next, eh? Is a what do you call it? Doohickey goes in here to drive the distributor. I need to get that in, I think. I could possibly put the camshaft in, and then it's onto the pistons and conrods. Now the pistons have to go onto the conrods. The old pistons come off. Never done that before, so oh well, let's get on with it. Now on this old one, it's got front stamped in the piston. So I've marked the conrod. So that's the front of the conrod. The new pistons don't have that on them. What they've got on them is B040. That's 40 thou oversized. I don't know what the B stands for, but it does have an arrow pointing, which I'm assuming means that that's the front. This is a tightish fit. There's the conrod. Alright, alrighty then. Got some hot water. We'll put that in there for a bit of time, and hopefully things will expand a bit. And that gudgeon pin will come out. And look at that, it did. Don't you love it when a plane comes together? Alrighty. Okay, arrow is going that way, gudgeon pin that way, conrod, sorry. Forgot something. Need to put one of these circlips in. To start with, so that the pin's got something to push up against. Now these got a round side and a flat side. It's quite, you can feel it. So let's get that in there. There you go. Alright, circlips in. Arrow's pointing that way, dot is that way. Let's get this gudgeon pin in before it cools down. Damage. Alright, another circlip, just checking, dot to the front, arrow to the front, very cool. Another circlip, find the flat side, the round side, and put the circlip in. Circlip is in. All good. Now the first one what I think is called the oil rings, is it? Anyway, that needs to go on. So that the joint is near the conrod connection, or pin thingy, doohickey. Now, then there's no markings on them to say which way up they go, so I'm assuming that doesn't matter. Again, by the instructions, need to start this so it's like around from where the pin goes through. Then it just slides on. It's no big deal. Problem I have, yeah, there you go. And then that's on, goes at the bottom of that ring. And the next one, you start around the other side of the pin, and it's going to go on top of that, sort of. There you go. It's cake. But the next one, now these have a marking on them that says which way is up. Got top written on it. The other thing I need to do, once these is in the cylinder, the gap between here and here, now I can't find any reference to it in the workshop manual on what that distance is. On the piece of paper that comes with all this rubbish, it says 003 to 004 per inch of cylinder diameter. Now, I'm not sure what the cylinder is on the car. Looks about 3 inches or 2.5 inches. Let's have a measure. Alright, cylinder is about 3 inches. So let's take it at 004, which is 12 feeler gauges. So I'll just check that in the cylinder. Which is within the specs, so we'll go with that. Again, there's all sorts of ways, there's tools to do this, but in all honesty I've found what I'm doing to be about the best way to do it. Now, the gap is on this side, so I'm going to put this one with the gap on the other side, and I need to make sure it's the right way up, top. I just got to do all the rest of them now. I might put the bearings on, let's do that. And there you go. One piston conrod, done and dusted, ready to go in. Now just got to do the rest of them. Just in case, currently there's in containers marked per which one they are. But this one's number 2, so there's 2 little dots on there telling me that that's number 2 cylinder. Now let's get on with the rest of them. Well, it's time to start putting some pistons in this block. What we have here is the ready to go setup. Need to get some oil in this cylinder wall. Also need to get some of this assembly grease on the bearing. This ring compressor doohickey needs some oil around on that. Need to check it's going in the right way. Check that the ring gaps haven't moved and are still where they're supposed to be, and everything is happy. Get some oil on here. And we're going to put the ring compressor on. That on as tight as we can. Again, I got this little dot that I put on the conrod which tells me it's the front. The arrow on the top of the piston tells me it's front. Put that on there. And hope for the best. All this assembly goo. Make sure it's going on in the right orientation. Okay, that's what it looks like, sort of thing. I'm just doing them up tight, not tight, if you know what I mean. And I'm not tensioning them with a torque wrench yet. And that's all very smooth and happy. So let's get on and get all the rest of them in, which might be a bit of fun flipping this engine over each time, but let's give it a go and see what happens. And so let's get on with it. Alrighty then, it's all the pistons are in, all conrods, etc. The whole thing's bolted up and spinning quite nicely. It's time to tension wrench these bolts. It's 38 to 42, so we'll call that 40, say. But I'll sneak up on it. Start at 20, and which ain't much. Alright, let's creep that up to 40, say. Alright, that's all the bolts tensioned up. All spinning nicely. Well, that's all the pistons in. Conrod's tensioned. Another job done. Well, that's just about it for this episode. Tune in, same duck time, same duck channel, for more mechanical mayhem on this poor old Triumph 2500 Mark 1. When you'll see me continue with this engine build. And let's hope it all comes together. Bye for now.